Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to discuss the next question of our agriculture optional answer writing practice series. And the question for today is explain the productive, protective, ameliorative, recreational, educational and development function of Indian forests. So there we all know that forests perform various functions for us, and all these functions have been mentioned in the question which we have to discuss, which Indian forests provide for us. So this was the question asked in this year's agriculture optional paper, that is the agriculture optional paper of UPSC Civil Services Examination 2025. So let's see how we can approach the answer. Okay, so let's start. So in the introduction part, you can simply mention that yes, forests are one of the very critical resources for our environment to sustain. For it is the source of various products. Okay, it protects us, and you can simply also mention other. You can mention this through this. Okay, by writing some basic ideas, you can use quotes here that forests are the lifeline of a country. It is a quote. So all these things can be mentioned, and you can also add some data that India has currently 25.17% of forest, and we have to reach 33% of forest because of the functions which forest provided, such as productive, protective, all these things. So this is how you can start, and I think you should try to keep the introduction very short in these types of questions, because you have to write lot amount of points in the kind of body section. So keep the introduction short, 1 to 2 lines, that would be enough. So I have given you a brief idea. I have given you 2 3 ideas how to introduce, either through quote, or either through simple definition or simple writing, or either through using these types of datas. So it is your homework to write other introductions also and comment down, so that we can see what introduction you are thinking for these types of questions. Now let's move to the body part. That is number one, productive functions of forest. Productive functions of Indian forests. So we all know productive, that is production. So we all know forests are source of various kind of goods. They produce various kinds of goods, and they are direct source of various kinds of goods. So what are they? We will mention them. First of all, timber production. Timber production. So this timber is used as a kind of furniture in industries, in paper industries, in plywood industries, in construction industries. Okay, so timber is the first product we got. We also get non-timber forest produce. Non-timber forest produce, that is NTFP. NTFPs. Here you can mention various things such as lac, gum, fruits, fuel wood, fodder. All these things can be mentioned which we get from the forest, such as other products which are non-timber based products. One is timber based, other non-timber based. And non-timber based only you can mention about medicinal plants. Okay, and it all these things leads to a lot of employment generation. So generally in productive functions, two types of products we get from forest, that is timber based products and non-timber based forest products. So if you explain these two, that would be enough. Then after productive functions, the second function which is mentioned in question is protective function. Protective function. So how forests protects us? Okay, so we all know that forest not only protects us, it protects our environment, it protects our mother nature. So you can mention points such as here soil conservation. Okay, forests play a great role by preventing soil erosion and binding the soil through its roots. Okay, secondly, water conservation. Forests regulate kind of water cycle. Okay, they regulate and reduce the floods, droughts, all these things. Okay, they regulate rainfall. They also act as windbreaks and shelter belts. Windbreaks and shelter belts, which also reduce erosion. They also protect wildlife habitat. Okay, here you can also give examples if you want to. For example, you can give example here of Hullock gibbon. hollow gibbon, which is protected in the forest of northeastern India. Okay, and it is kind of endemic to these regions. So you can mention that. You can mention Nilgiri Thar, which is protected kind of in Nilgiri areas, in Nilgiri forests. Okay, so these you can mention, and overall they also lead to climate regulation. So these are the protective functions of forest. They also act as buffer against disasters. Against disasters, for example, mangrove forest. You can give example of mangrove forest here. So mangrove forest, what it does, it reduces the impact of tsunamis and high waves, all these things. So these are the protective functions of forest. Next we have ameliorative functions. So ameliorative functions means how forest improve the quality, okay, quality of environment and natural resources. How it's improve quality of environment and natural resources. So here you can mention about microclimate regulation. Forest has huge role in regulating the microclimates. You can mention about air purification. For example, we all know that forest releases O2 and absorbs CO2. Even many big forests are referred to as lungs of the planet. For example, Amazon forest. You can also mention here about noise reduction. Okay, forests act as a buffer to reduce noise pollution. It leads to groundwater recharge. Okay, it reduces the chances of desertification. So these are the ameliorative functions of forests. Now next is the recreational functions. How forests act as a for us in recreation. First of all, you can mention about ecotourism. You can mention about ecotourism here. You can mention about adventure tourism. For example, various things such as trekking, camping, bird watching, photography. All these things can be done in forest. It has also spiritual and cultural values. Spiritual and cultural values. You can give example of sacred groves here. Okay, aesthetic functions, it has various aesthetic functions. Okay, it acts as a natural beauty. Various citizens go and walk in the forests. Okay, trekking, which is often known as. So all these can be included in recreational functions, and you can give examples also such as safaris in Rajaji National Park or Kanha National Park. All these things can be mentioned. These are the recreational functions. Next thing which we have to mention is educational function. Educational function. So obviously forests are known as living laboratories. Okay, these are known as forests are known as living laboratories, living labs or living laboratories for learning, research and awareness. For learning, research and awareness. So here you can mention about research and training. Okay, for example, there are various kind of study on biodiversity, study on ecology, which can be done in forest, conservation awareness. Okay, you can mention here about botanical gardens and forest schools. Botanical gardens, forest schools. Also, we can have degree on forestry. Degree on forestry. Either you can do BTech forestry or BSc forestry. Also, forests are source of a huge amount of traditional knowledge. So it helps to evaluate our ethnobotany learning, ethnobotany education. We all know forests are source of various kind of medicines, various kinds of plants which are very economically important. So this can be mentioned, ethnobotany education. So these are the educational functions of forest. Next we can have to mention the last one, that is developmental functions. Developmental functions. So we all know that forests can lead to rural development. Okay, as it provides livelihood, employment. It provides the kind of fuel, fodder through non-timber based forest products to rural people. So it can lead to rural development, economic development through forest based industries such as plywood industries. Okay, through tourism, ecotourism. It can lead to energy security. For example, biomass energy in rural areas. It also leads to employment generation, which we have mentioned, infrastructure support, as timbers are highly used in construction, railways, ships, industries. So all these things can be mentioned in developmental functions of forest. So these were all the functions of forest, and I have mentioned a lot of points, and I think you will be able to write a good answer on the basis of these points. And I think you got to know how to approach these types of question. So that is all for the body part. In conclusion, you can mention that we need to protect our forest and preserve our forest, and we need to meet this 33% mark so that our forests are sustainable. Okay, so that is all for today. And you can, if you, I hope you like the session. So if you like it, please press the like button. Please do share and please do subscribe. It takes a lot of hard work to make such videos for you on regular basis. And if you like, if you share, if you subscribe, it motivates us to make more such videos for you regularly. So that is all for today. Have a nice day. Thank you.